to navigate things, quickly forget about any subject, especially when they interfere with their tasks. Naturally, the non-volunteers, company captains, chaplains, masters and librarians are free from any schedules. Nevertheless,
so, last night, when I took my lunch break from work, I had to shoot over to a friend's house and pick my daughter up. She was coming home from a sleepover. And as I was driving her home, she asked me, hey, can I watch a YouTube video? Because I have my phone up there on my little dash thing in case I get messages from work, that kind of thing. Yeah, sure, go ahead. And she picks this. I'm going to let this play for a minute.
That might be fun. Oh, I feel the wind in my... Would this help? No, you can keep that.
Yeah, you guys get the idea, right? I said, what do you want? You don't like it, Daddy? No. Well, what do you not like about it? They're funny. And she explains like who's who and who's doing what, and this guy's the dummy and that guy's the clown. And I said, well, I'll tell you what I don't like about it. These guys are obviously rich kids, and that's not a problem. Like, if you're rich and you've got an easy life, hey, you won. Like, I had no hate for me. But here's a bunch of kids, they don't produce anything, and they've all just decided they're going to be online personalities, and they don't act real. Like, that is not... If that is the real them, like, I would hate to be in their families and having to put up with that on a daily basis. And it's all such an over-the-top act, you know. One of the things I try to do with my channel is I try to present myself as I really am. Now, do I ham it up a little bit here and there? You know, do some funny voices or maybe emphasize certain things? Yeah, but for the most part, like, what you see is what you get. And, you know, that's what I've always tried to do, is just present myself as a real person. And that's, I guess, what I'm selling, if anything. And it just bothered me. I don't know. It's like, I don't know. It just feels like it's so fake and disingenuous. It's almost insulting. And they never come out of character. They just keep going. And it's irritating to watch. I'm trying to imagine, like, hanging out with dudes like that. And if they acted like that in real life, well, there's just no way I would participate. Now, why is that pertinent to today's discussion? Man, I'm going through it, man. I'm suffering, and I know it's all my doing. You know, one of the things we talk about on this channel is trying to live by a certain set of simple principles. As a guy that's a recovering drug addict, alcoholic, you know, somebody that's tried to change his life, I do not have it all together. You know, I espouse certain things, and it's mostly to help people that are going through it see that there is a way to the other side, because I'm an immensely blessed man. I've got a dream job for all intents and purposes. I've got all the things you could possibly want. I got a beautiful wife, beautiful kids, more things than I could possibly ever need. And, you know, for all intents and purposes, I am blessed way beyond measure, and I have it way better than I deserve. If I got what I deserved, yeah, I wouldn't be this. So in that regard, I'm immensely blessed. But I've also found that even though I do try to live by this simple set of principles, I'm not there yet. You know, I'm very sensitive. I take things personal. You know, I get angry at things that I probably shouldn't get angry at. I find that I'm holding on to resentments for things, and it's usually like whenever I have whenever my integrity is questioned, you know, as I am as a man, like being called a liar or things of that nature, you know, that cuts me very, very deeply, and I get offended, and I'm kind of dealing with a situation I just don't know what to do about it. I just don't know. I'm at a crossroads. And I feel like, I don't know, on one hand I'm thinking, am I overthinking this? Am I making it more than it needs to be? Am I making my life unnecessarily difficult? Or is this a real issue that I need to nip in the bud and take care of? I just don't know, man. Because on one hand, I feel like I'm selling myself a little bit. to put up with things that I wouldn't normally put up with. Like, what are we looking at? What it is, I'm trading my time for money. And I need that money to survive. So there's a fear of loss that's associated with making changes. Now, I've already started putting feelers out to see if I have other options, and that's just mostly for security, to know that if something happens, I'll be able to land on my feet. That's what that is. It's maybe reactionary to what's going on. But then there's another part of me that's like, no, you don't fight the fights that you know you can win. You fight the fights that are worth fighting, And then if that's the truth, am I making my life unreasonably difficult? Last night when I did this training footage behind you, I came home from work and I was up super late into the morning. I think I trained for 4 or 5 hours straight. And I just stayed out in the garage and I was just wailing away on the heavy bag and working on stuff, trying to get my head right, just trying to sort it all out. And it all started with something really simple. There was a situation at work and one of the job sites needed clarification for something. And so I inserted myself thinking that it was my place to do so, as I am the area manager. And when I ran my decision by a certain somebody, I got put in my place and I was essentially told that I need to stay out of things that are not my business. And I'm like, isn't that my job? So, see, here's the thing is I got to be super careful because, I was told that people watch my videos. So I can't be just like talking about stuff. But at the same time, this is stuff that really affects me. And, I'm really suffering as a man. Here's the thing this is where I have a hard time reconciling the situation. I've had this job for a little over 1.5 years. Well, not quite that long. I think it was last March is when I started. And up until a month ago, I've had not one single issue, not one complaint, not one single negative email saying you need to do this or you're not meeting our expectations. Nothing. I've had nothing but people telling me you're doing great, keep doing what you're doing, we're really happy to have you on the team. Now this is where it gets interesting. So I work for a small section of the company. In that section, the production team are all friends of mine. I've known these guys for years. That is a dream job. When I go to work there, we're shooting the crap and we're having, good old time and we enjoy each other's companies. And when you ask people for things, they're happy to help you out and they appreciate it when you help them out. And it's all like, great, man. If I worked for those people directly, I would literally have the best job that you could ever have. Like it'd be like a family. But my department doesn't answer to those people, even though they're high up in production and they're high up in the company. My department's separate, so I have a different chain of command. And because we're we're over here on our own doing our own thing, and I'm left kind of mostly to my own devices, I've been sort of, that little group's been so happy and ecstatic to have me, and it's great. It's like going to work with your friends every day. It's awesome. But now when I have to deal with my actual department, it's the exact opposite. It's toxic. It's behind the backstabbing. It's outright lies. Gaslighting. Oh my God, I was so angry when I came home from work, and then I literally just beat it out of me. Like with using the heavy bag, I just wailed on it until I didn't care anymore. And when I woke up this morning, I was like, you know what? Maybe I'm making a big deal out of nothing. I don't really deal with these people that much. I don't have to see them that often. Like, I can suck it up, right? And then I just got out of a meeting, and something happened in the meeting. It was real subtle. We got to a point where they were discussing. It was said, how did he say it? There's a problem in Nevada with the way they've handled some medical cases. And I immediately snapped up. I'm like, wait, what? Time out. Oh, what do you mean? What are we talking about? And we're talking about one person. Oh, wait, so you said cases, plural, cases. The way you said, There's a problem in Nevada the way we're handling medical cases. Okay, so there's one case. Well, what was the problem with the one case? So we're supposed to go to every doctor's appointment and follow up. And I'm like, yeah, we did all that. Where was the issue? And then I had to do some digging because I asked for clarification and I was told, well, this isn't the time for that. You can talk to me about that after the meeting. Yeah, but we had all the safety people there in one spot, and this is an instructional meeting, where we're all supposed to get on the same page about what our job responsibilities are. So why wouldn't it? Wouldn't this be the best place to discuss that? Unless maybe you're lying, or I don't know. This is the first I've heard about this. No one's ever said anything to me about there being a problem with any of the medical cases or the way they were handled. After doing some digging, I found out when I got his return to work authorization, I had him give that to his superintendent so he could go to work. And I guess I didn't forward it to my department. Okay, well, that's a mistake, I guess. I thought that was all included with the report that they got from the doctor's office. I didn't know you needed the actual permission slip sent to you, but that's easily rectified. Okay, I mean, from now on. But the way you put it, the way you made it sound, it made it really sound like you were trying to put me on blast for not doing my job. And it was super subtle. And if I wouldn't have caught it, it makes us sound like we're incompetent out here. And this is the type of shit that I've been dealing with. This is the kind of bullshit gaslighting nonsense where they're making a big fucking deal about these little tiny, easily rectifiable incidents. While meanwhile, we're not having any problems at all with anyone. Not with the GCs, not with state and regulatory, not with other trades. No issues. There's been no issues, so why are we making issues? Unless you're trying to attack me personally. And that's how I'm feeling. And then it comes back to like, all right, am I living my life the way am I espousing the way you should? Am I living by my own principles? Or am I being a hypocrite? Am I making more out of this? Am I just taking stuff personal? Like, is it me? Am I screwing up here? Or am I properly standing my ground and calling shit out for the way it's supposed to be? Like, I don't know what I did to get on this guy. I don't know what I did to get on this guy's bad side, but I really feel like he's got it out for me. The way he talks to me is very terse. He snaps at me. I had called him yesterday just to get information, and he almost started yelling at me, and I was like, whoa, dude, I'm just calling to ask your opinion on something. I haven't talked to anybody or made any decisions. Like, time out, back up. And then he said, there's that job's got both divisions, the large side and our little side. And he said, well, though your side's not down at that job anymore. They're off, right? I go, yeah. So what are you doing down there? What are you talking about? They called and asked me for help. I said, are you telling me you don't want me involved on the large side at all when they call and ask me for help? And he thought about it and he said, oh, no, that's not what I'm saying. Yeah, you almost backed yourself into a corner there, dude. Like, what is happening? 1 minute you want me to do both, and next minute it has me infuriated. It's got me, it's literally, I'm letting this ruin my life. I really am. I'm letting this just like take up all of my energy. And when I step back and try to look at it, what it really is, as long as I'm taking care of my business and doing what I'm supposed to be doing, like, there's really little to no involvement from that side, other than what I need to provide to them if they require. I don't really have to deal with them. And then when I do have to deal with them, it is this. So it's like, if 90% of my job is awesome and I love it and I like going to work and I work with all the guys I'm friends with and I get along with everybody and I'm happy to see everybody, and if you had a job like that, but you knew 10% of the time you had to deal with guys that are just like out to make your life miserable, what would you do? I mean, it's hard to find a job that's like, when it's good, it's great. And when it's bad, it's awful. But it's mostly good and a little bit bad, And it's like, okay, do I really want to screw this up? I mean, I don't want to screw it up. I really want to just make the problem go away. I want to do whatever I need to do to make it so that this doesn't keep happening, but it does keep happening. And I feel like it's happening because it's being pushed by one person. And that's what I just don't know what to do about. You know, I can't directly confront them, or I could, but there would be consequences of that. And then, you know, I don't know, like that whole department seems like they're friends that go way back, like it's a good old boys club, and I ain't part of it. So it's like I can't go over his head because, you know, like I don't think that would work very well. And like I've stated in the past, I don't like to do that anyways. I'm more of a guy that likes to just deal directly with people. I like, if you got a problem with me, just let me know. You know, tell me. I don't need you to like me. I just need you to be honest with me. And that's the kind of handshake, you know, man as good as his word type of anachronism that I am. You know, I was born in the wrong era. You know, I should have been born in the 30s or 40s when a man's handshake meant something and you're just as good as your word, you know. And now everything's got to be documented. You got to prove every single little thing you said because people are definitely trying to screw you over, you know what I mean? You have to protect yourself. And that's the way that's what I feel like. It's like I'm not doing a good enough job protecting myself because I'm so happy-go-lucky and I think we're all buddies. And it's not the way it is, unfortunately. I don't know. You let me know in the comments. What would you do? Like, what are your thoughts? Because it's like this, I keep bringing this keeps happening and I need to figure out a way to squash it and make it stop. It's just taking up way too much of my energy. And it's frankly like problems that are being manufactured. They don't exist. Like nothing has happened. Like, everything's good. But, well, as far as I know, everything's good. Apparently, behind my back, things are not. I'm mishandling medical cases, apparently. You know, whenever I run into issues like this, I like to try to examine myself to see what it is. Like, where did I go wrong? You can't control other people. You really can't. All you can control is what you do. And in every situation that happens to us, even if you got mugged, there's a part that you played in it to allow it to happen. And that's what we want to examine. Like, say somebody did something to you and you are a total victim. It was 100% that person's fault. You can still examine what you did to invite the situation. And that's the type of stuff that I like to work on and change so that it doesn't keep happening. And I keep revisiting, like, where is it in my life that I keep running into this conflict? And one of the things I've identified is I let people into my life way too easily. I'm just a happy-go-lucky guy, you know? Like, if everything's good and everybody's cool, we're all best friends, you know? Come on over. I just met you. We'll have a barbecue this weekend. Bring the wife and kids. And, you know, next thing you know, I got a new best friend. But I keep inviting people in my life that act a certain way, but are not a certain way, if that makes sense. It's all a front, you know? And then you start seeing that people for who they really are, and you're like, oh, damn it. And usually I get too close to people and I'll start divulging personal information. I got told today by a colleague that I talk too much. And I was like, what do you mean? And he goes, you know, when we're sitting in these meetings, you're asking questions and you're getting clarification on things. And it's like, you're basically putting it out there, you know, what you know and what you don't know. And you're giving people ammunition. He goes, just shut up. You know, when they're asking if there's any questions, just don't say anything like the rest of us. I'm like, yeah, but I actually want clarification on this stuff. I am actually trying to do my job, believe it or not. Like, I want them to get their money's worth out of me. You know, I am actually trying to do a good job. But I can kind of see where they said that you come off as like you're talking down to people. But I don't know if it's your vocabulary or your posture or your attitude, but it's like you come off like a little bit, I don't know, like high and mighty. And I'm like, no, that's never my intention, ever. I'm never trying to talk down to people. Unless I'm purposely trying to be sarcastic and talk down to you. Like, if you come at me and I come at you, I go back at you, that is intentional, obviously. But never in like my normal day-to-day would I ever purposely disrespect somebody just for the sake of, like, ugh, I'm better than you. Because I don't believe that. I do not believe for a second that I'm better than the lowest position on that job site, like the security guards at the gate, laborers. Like, we all have a job to do. You have your job, I have mine, and it's equal but different. I don't see myself as being any better than anybody, no matter how much money you make. And I've noticed in construction, there's a lot of fragile egos, infantile egomaniacs, guys that, I don't know, they got picked on or whatever, and they like to throw their weight around, especially when they get a little bit of authority. The little merciless gods of their eminent domains, the little tyrants at the job site. They run their crews and they yell and scream at everybody, or they're blatantly disrespectful. They talk down to people. Like, that's just not me. I don't see a need for it. I'd rather be friends with everybody. I go out of my way to make friends with the security guards at the gate. You know why? Because when you need those people, if you're not cool with them, they're not helpful to you. It's like, it's just, to me, it's good common sense to make friends with everyone. And it makes work more fun. It's so cool when you go into a job site and everybody says hi to you and they're happy. They seem like they're happy to see you. Apparently that's not always the case. But you know what I mean? I'd rather be pleasant to be around. I'd rather be a guy that's fun to work with. And I get blinders. I put blinders on because when everything's good, it's good. And I'm just la-di-da-di-do-di-do. And maybe if I'm not watching my shit and making sure that I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing, these little guys are just waiting to snatch you up. Gotcha, bitch. They catch you slipping. You gotta be careful. And if you're not mindful of that, and I don't want to become that pessimistic guy that thinks everybody's out to get me. That sucks. No one wants to be that dude. But I don't know. I feel like I gotta maybe sew things up a little bit and quit being a little so, I don't know what the word is, aloof. The principles I try to live by. I try to be as honest as possible. What you see is what you get. We all tell little white lies from time to time, like when you're trying not to hurt someone's feelings, like, hey, does this dress look good on me? It looks great. But even that can be damaging, because if you don't give your honest opinion and somebody goes out looking goofy, like, are you really helping that person? Things like, family members that are overweight, and, you don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. I don't want to ever intentionally be cruel, but you should try to be as honest as possible. Really, that's something I strive for. I want to be a man of my word. The second principle is to be a man of your word. If you say you're going to be somewhere at a certain time, be there. I struggle with that. I sometimes don't take traffic into account, and I'll wind up a few minutes late. I got to call people and be like, I'm running late or whatever. I do try to be accountable. I try to be a man of my word. If I say I'm going to do something, I try to do it. The other thing is I try to think of people a little more than I think of myself. So I try not to be totally selfish. I am a selfish individual, as I've been told by my family. I'm the most selfish man that's ever existed, apparently. When she's mad at me. But no, I really do try to put other people ahead of me, and as much as I just think it's a better way to live. Like, it takes you outside of yourself, and when you accomplish things, and you just feel better about yourself. I really do think that we were meant to be of service to others. We're gregarious by nature, and we're not supposed to be islands. We're not supposed to be alone. It's not supposed to be us against the world. But I also do believe very deeply in personal responsibility and self-sufficiency. So I'm going to do everything I can to be as self-sufficient as possible, so that at the end of the day, in a situation, I'm prepared. I can do what I need to do to handle that situation. The most important thing, the most important principle that I live by is I don't blame other people for my problems, even if they're the cause. I don't blame you for me being broke. I don't blame you for you getting promoted and me not. I don't blame anybody for my shortcomings. I always look at what I could have done better or what I need to do differently. And a lot of times I beat my head against the wall trying to come up with that answer, and it's very difficult sometimes. But that is what the measure of a man is. You don't look at other people to solve your problems. You look inwards and you try to fix it yourself. You know, sometimes we don't have the answers, and it does require getting help, for sure. But at the end of the day, I don't blame anybody for the situation I find myself in. And I think that's what I see a lot is people don't want to take personal accountability. They want to put their crap off on something else. They want to blame something or someone. And it's just, I want to say pathetic, but that's harsh. I understand, like, you know, I don't know. I haven't gone through what I've gone through to get to where I'm at. I understand, you know, being in that pit of despair and just looking for something to, you know, you want somebody else to, you know, take the blame or this is my fault and I'm sorry this happened to you. But at the end of the day, nobody's the world doesn't owe us anything. We're born alone, we're going to die alone, and everything we do in the middle is all on us. It doesn't mean we don't have a lot of help along the way. And I would be a liar if I didn't acknowledge that I've had wonderful people in my life I have guardian angels all over the place, and they're looking out for me, and I'm extremely grateful. But at the end of the day, I still have to do the work. You know what I mean? Nobody can do it for me. The weights are not going to lift themselves. That's just it. So we have to look to ourselves, and if we don't have what it takes to be self-sufficient, then we need to add that to part of our training protocol to get that way. And I think that, like, if every man really took that upon himself, this world would be a much better place. You know, that's what this world really, really desperately needs. The leadership is not the ability to boss people around. Leadership is being that strong, assertive voice in the middle of a storm. The calm in the emergency, you know what I mean? You gotta kick at the darkness until it bleeds daylight. Well, here's what I can tell you. I'm going to go to work today, and I'm going to put my best foot forward, and I'm really going to make a concerted effort to try to do everything I'm supposed to be doing. And then I'm going to probably hit the weights, and if I can convince my old lady, maybe I'll get some 11. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah. I love you guys. I'll see you on the battlefield.